Hey everybody, Jake here and welcome to the hobby. If you're wondering if your bulk Pokemon cards has some value inside of them, yes, they definitely do. So today I wanted to share some Pokemon cards that are common, uncommon, or even some basic rare cards that are actually quite valuable. So start looking through your bulk cards because you might have some of the more expensive cards inside of this list. These are some of the more expensive Pokemon cards that you might have sorted into your bulk piles, and if you do scroll through your bulk, you might be able to find some really nice expensive Pokemon cards in here that can offer you enough to buy a couple additional booster packs. I would definitely not put these cards inside of my own bulk pile. So first up, let's talk about the big one, and that is the Drizzle from base set Sword and Shield. Drizzle is currently going for around $4, and you'll recognize that a lot of the cards on these lists are competitive staples. These are cards that are used in a bunch of different decks, and that's why even though they are common, uncommon, or just basic rares, they can go up for quite a bit. The Drizzle is currently going for around $4 for a single copy on TCG Player. That makes it one of the most expensive uncommon Pokemon card that you can pull from a base Sword and Shield booster pack. And you can find base set Sword and Shield booster packs in a bunch of variety products nowadays. They come inside the tins, the Pokeball, and all kinds of other variety products. The reason why the Drizzle is so expensive is that it is a utility card. It is usable in just about every single deck. It's a card that allows you to search your deck for other cards. A card that is so useful in so many different ways, and honestly, it is very competitively viable. That is why Drizzle, even though it's an uncommon card, is going for upwards of $4 because a lot of decks that utilize it needs up to 4 copies. So if you have yourself a Drizzle inside of your bulk pile, you can be looking at a nice extra booster pack. Next up, we have another card from base set Sword and Shield. We have the Evolution Incense. This is a card that you probably brushed off in a lot of your bulk piles, and Evolution Incense is super useful in very much the same way that Drizzle is. It is needed in pretty much every single deck that utilizes evolution Pokemon. So decks that utilize Pokemon that need to evolve multiple stages. Evolution Incense allow you to really make those evolution pair up a lot easier, and it is a super useful card. It is currently going for around $1.50 on TCG Players, and most decks also require 4 copies of Evolution Incense if they are running any evolution type Pokemon, which most decks are nowadays, which is why this card is starting to climb up in value. Next, let's talk about Rebel Clash. Rebel Clash is considered by many people as a player-oriented set because a lot of the cards from Rebel Clash were not really collectible cards, but a lot of players enjoy utilizing the cards from Rebel Clash. One card from Rebel Clash is the Holo Rare Boss's Order. Just a regular holo rare, but this card is currently going for around $3 to $4, and it is very competitively viable. Pretty much every single deck right now run some copies of Boss's Order, and a big reason for that is that it allows you to pull any Pokemon from your opponent's bench onto the field. This is super important and one of the few ways for you to actually interact with your opponent's bench, and swapping out Pokemon is a super useful utility power that can really change the course of any particular game. There's so many games that are won or lost on whether your opponent has a Boss's Order or not. So this card being expensive is a no-brainer. Next up in Rebel Clash, we also have Capture Energy. Super useful energy card, a special energy. You put it on any Pokemon you want. It provides 1 basic energy, colorless, and it allows you to pull a basic Pokemon out from your deck. It is a super useful card that is currently going for around $2. Next up, we also have a final card from Rebel Clash that I can recommend that might be inside of your bulk pile, which is the Galar Mine. This is probably the first major niche card on this list. The Galar Mine is not super useful inside of every single deck. It raises the retreat cost for your Pokemon by 2 additional energy. That pretty much means your Pokemon that's on the field is pretty much stuck on the field. It keeps your Pokemon on the field longer, and not being able to switch your Pokemon in and out can be extremely detrimental. So this card is also going for around $2 for just an uncommon card. Before we go on to the second half of the list, I wanted to point out some honorable mentions. I really couldn't put these cards on the list since they are ultra rare, but the value that these cards bring are really astounding. If you're opening up Fusion Strike, I would highly recommend you look for a Mew VMAX. Mew VMAX is probably the most strongest deck in the TCG right now, and a single copy of the Mew VMAX could go upwards for as much as $30 for just a regular VMAX version. The Mew V is also a nice gimme. It is a $6 card, which is really solid considering that most other ultra rare V cards are going for just $1 or $2. The next card that I would like to give an honorable mention to is the Arceus V-Star from Brilliant Stars. A lot of people are opening up Brilliant Stars right now, so do not brush off this card. Arceus V-Star, once again, is another super competitively viable Pokemon card, and it is also going upwards for as much as $35 to $40 right now for a single copy, which is probably a third of the value of your booster box on just a single regular V-Star card. So definitely don't brush these cards off. They're from very recent sets, so you might have a lot more potential on these booster packs compared to some of the other ones on this list that are from slightly older sets. Back to our regular bulk cards. Next card on the list, we have Hoopa. Hoopa is from Darkness Ablaze, and Hoopa is once again kind of a niche Pokemon rather than something that is super useful in every single deck. A big reason why Hoopa is so popular is that for a single Darkness energy, you can do a lot of work with Hoopa. And with Hoopa being just a single prize Pokemon, you're not taking a lot of risk. It's just a quick tech card that allows you to jab your opponent, do just a little bit of extra damage, and just KO your opponent's VMAX Pokemon with just your basic Pokemon is really sweet. And Hoopa can actually attack on the first turn, which could be pretty useful. Next up, we got some cards from Vivid Voltage. First up, probably doesn't surprise a lot of people, but I still want to add this in because it is a regular rare card, and that is the Charizard from Vivid Voltage. This is not the Charizard V, not the Charizard V Max, Full Art, any of those things. It is just the regular rare Charizard. Even this card is pretty popular. It is a bit of a cheese card, not a super powerful one. You have to build a very specific Leon-centric deck to make this Charizard work, but when it works, it is a lot of fun. Some people do play this deck. It is not a competitively viable deck, but I think just the fact that it is a Charizard card really adds the value. If you pull this card, it is currently going for upwards of $4, so definitely do not add it with the other regular rares from your pulls. Next up, we got another Vivid Voltage card, and this one really surprised me. It is the Snorlax. The Snorlax is actually just a regular rare card as well. Snorlax has a really cool ability called Gourmandize, which allows you to draw up to 7 cards into your hand, which is a super useful ability. If you have just a single card inside of your hand, what you're pretty much drawing is a ton of cards, and the ability to draw a ton of cards is really useful in just about every single deck. So definitely don't skip out on Snorlax if you see a copy of that inside of your Vivid Voltage booster pack. The last card on this list, we have ourselves the Beedrill from Chilling Reign. This one, another super tech card, but I have seen some people run it in the TCG. For one single energy, Beedrill can knock out any Pokemon with a special energy, which is a super useful ability because your opponent can have a full health VMAX, they can have a 300 HP Pokemon, it doesn't matter. Beedrill will knock it out. That's a super useful ability, and one of the reasons why Beedrill is currently going for upwards of $2 for a single copy of this card. A super tech card, not super common inside of the TCG, but it is competitively viable in certain areas, and it is a fun deck to run because it's always fun to knock out your opponent VMAX with just a regular Pokemon. So definitely be on the lookout for Beedrill inside of your Chilling Reign booster packs. Alright everybody, that's the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Every couple of months I'll usually compile all of my bulk cards, and I'll usually sort through them, and I'll look for these key cards that are a little bit more on the valuable end. Usually item cards, trainer cards, supporter cards can sometimes be some of the more valuable ones, just depending on how competitively viable they are in the TCG. And surprisingly, as sets rotate out, some of the older sets, some of the ones that no one opens anymore, like base set Sword and Shield, as well as Rebel Clash, some of those cards become significantly more expensive because who's opening up those packs anymore? So if you have some older sets that are inside of your bulk pile and you haven't sold them off or stowed them away, then definitely be on the lookout, because there could be potentially $20 or $30 in bulk just sitting in just a few couple of cards. That's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.